A love beyond labels, where hearts meet, not worlds apart. If you've ever felt like the world tries to box you in, to define you by your circumstances, then this story is for you. What if I told you that true connection can bloom in the most unexpected places, defying every expectation? Get ready for a tale that proves love doesn't care about titles or bank accounts, only about the beating of two hearts. Don't forget to hit that like button if this story resonates with you, and subscribe for more inspiring tales. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Let's connect. The alarm blared at 6:30 a.m., a harsh symphony that jolted Luna awake. Another day, another battle against the relentless tide of exhaustion. Beside her, in the crib she'd painstakingly assembled, her 4-month-old daughter, Lily, slept soundly, tiny fists curled close to her face. "Good morning, my little star," Luna whispered, leaning in to kiss Lily's warm forehead. Their cozy 2-room apartment on the ground floor was small, but it was all she could afford on a cleaner's salary. In the tiny kitchen, Luna brewed strong black coffee. Luxuries like sugar had become optional since Lily's arrival. While the water heated, she mentally mapped out her day. Arrive at Tech Innovate by 8, clean 3 floors of the corporate building, tidy meeting rooms, and pray that the breast milk she left with Mrs. Gable would be enough. Mrs. Gable, her 60-year-old widowed neighbor, was a godsend. Childless herself, she'd offered to care for Lily when Luna had to return to work. "A child brings joy to a home," Mrs. Gable always insisted, refusing payment beyond ingredients for the occasional porridge she made for the baby. At 7:15 a.m., Luna gently tapped on her neighbor's door. Mrs. Gable appeared, already dressed, a warm smile gracing her wrinkled face. "Morning, dear. How was our little one's night?" "She only woke twice. She's sleeping better," Luna replied, handing over the bag with diapers, cream, and 2 bottles of breast milk she'd pumped in the early hours. "Leave it to me. You go to work with a clear mind." Mrs. Gable took Lily into her arms with the practiced ease of someone who had always dreamed of being a mother. The baby snuggled naturally into the neighbor's embrace, barely stirring. "If anything happens, you have the company number. Speak to Ingrid. She'll call me." Go on. Everything's under control here." The bike ride to Tech Innovate took 15 minutes. Luna pedaled through the still deserted streets, feeling the cool morning air on her face. It was one of the few moments of peace in her day. Just her bike, and the city slowly awakening. Tech Innovate occupied a 4-story glass building on the main avenue. Luna had worked there for 2 years, first as an outsourced cleaner, then directly hired by the company. She knew every inch of the place, the second-floor meeting rooms, the perpetually dirtier restrooms, the break room where employees sometimes left food scraps. Ingrid Davis, the cleaning supervisor, was at reception when Luna arrived. A 45-year-old woman with black hair pulled back in a bun, Ingrid had worked in cleaning her entire life and understood her colleagues' struggles. "Morning, Luna. How's our little one?" "Growing every day, Ingrid. Thanks for asking. I can imagine it's not easy leaving her so tiny." Luna smiled, but there was sadness in her eyes. "It's what I have to do. At least, Mrs. Gable is a wonderful adopted mom," Ingrid observed the 24-year-old in front of her. Luna had always been hardworking, but since Lily was born, she seemed to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders. She was always punctual, worked without complaint, but there was a melancholy in her movements that pained Ingrid's heart. "You know you can count on me if you need anything, right?" "I know. Yes, thank you, Ingrid." The work began as it always did. Luna first went up to the 4th floor, where the company's executive offices were located. Mr. Harrison Vance, the CEO, had been away for a week at a conference, so the floor was practically empty. She cleaned his office with special care. It was spacious, with an imposing wooden desk, bookshelves filled with books, and a panoramic view of the city. Sometimes, while cleaning there, Luna allowed herself to imagine what it would be like to work in a room like that, to have an education, wear nice clothes, not worry if the money would stretch to formula if her milk ran dry. But these were fleeting daydreams. She had work to do. On the 3rd floor, she greeted the administrative staff as they arrived. Some were friendly, others barely noticed her presence. Luna didn't mind. She knew her place there and did her job with dignity. It was almost noon when her phone rang. The name Mrs. Gable appeared on the screen, and Luna's heart pounded. Mrs. Gable never called during work unless it was urgent. "Hello, Mrs. Gable." "Luna, dear." Her neighbor's voice sounded tense. "I need you to come here. Lily won't stop crying, and she absolutely refuses the bottle." Luna felt the world spin. "What do you mean she won't? She was feeding well yesterday." "I've tried everything, my child. I warmed the milk, made it lukewarm, tried giving it with a spoon. But she pushes it all away with her tongue and won't stop crying. I think she just wants to breastfeed." "I can't leave now, Mrs. Gable. You know how it is." "I know, dear. But the girl is desperate. She's been crying for 2 hours. I don't know what else to do." Luna closed her eyes, feeling tears welling up. On the other end of the line, she could hear Lily's inconsolable cries, and her mother's soul shattered. "Listen, Mrs. Gable, can you bring her here? I'll talk to Ingrid. Figure something out." "Are you sure? Will it cause trouble?" "Lily is more important than any job. Bring her, please." Luna hung up the phone, her hands trembling, and put the cell phone in her uniform pocket. She went to find Ingrid, who was organizing cleaning supplies in the 1st floor storage room. "Ingrid, I need to talk to you." The supervisor immediately noticed the desperation on the young woman's face. "What happened?" "It's Lily. She's not taking the bottle. She just wants to breastfeed. Mrs. Gable is bringing her here. I know it's against the rules, but calm down, calm down." Ingrid held Luna's hands. "First, your daughter always comes. First. Second, Mr. Vance is traveling, so the executive floor is empty. You can use his office to breastfeed. No one will bother you." "Are you sure? It won't cause problems?" "I'm sure. I'll go up with you and keep an eye out so no one comes up." Luna felt a wave of gratitude. "Thank you, Ingrid. I don't know what I'd do without you. We're women, dear. We have to help each other." 20 minutes later, Mrs. Gable arrived with Lily in her arms. The baby was red from crying, her little body contorting in despair. When she saw her mother, her expression automatically changed. My daughter, Luna murmured, taking Lily into her arms. The baby instantly calmed down, as if she knew she was safe. "She missed you today more than ever," Mrs. Gable said, wiping sweat from her forehead. "It's like she knew you were far away." Ingrid led the 3 of them to the elevator. "Let's go up to a more private place." Mr. Vance's office was silent and welcoming. Luna sat in the leather armchair behind the desk, discreetly unbuttoned her uniform blouse, and put Lily to her breast. The baby latched on tightly, sucking avidly, her small fists clutching her mother's blouse. "There, my princess. Mommy's here," Luna whispered, caressing her daughter's hair. Ingrid stood at the door, keeping watch. Mrs. Gable sat in the chair in front of the desk, observing the scene with an emotional smile. "You two have a special bond," the neighbor commented. "I've never seen anything like it." "She's all I have," Luna replied, kissing Lily's head. "Everything I am." The moment was perfect. Mother and daughter reunited, the purest love in the world flowing between them. Luna felt complete for the first time in weeks. There, in that silent room, there was only her and her daughter, and nothing else mattered. Outside, Ingrid checked her watch. Mr. Vance wasn't due back until the end of the week, so they had time. But life, as always, had its own plans. The sound of the elevator echoed through the empty corridor of the 4th floor. The sound made Ingrid frown. She quickly glanced at her watch. It was 2 o'clock on a Thursday, and practically all the fourth-floor employees were in external meetings or at lunch. Who could be coming up? "Luna," she called softly, entering the office. "I think you'd better finish up quickly. Someone's coming up." Luna looked at Lily, who was peacefully breastfeeding for the first time in hours. "She still needs the other side, Ingrid. Just 5 more minutes." "Okay, but I'll stay out here and listen." Ingrid gently closed the door and positioned herself in the hallway, pretending to organize a document folder. The elevator stopped on the 4th floor, and she heard familiar footsteps echoing on the marble floor. Mr. Harrison Vance appeared around the corner of the hallway, carrying a travel briefcase and with his tie loosened. He looked tired, but satisfied. The conference had been a success, and he had decided to return a day early to get some projects underway. "Good afternoon, Ingrid," he greeted, surprised to find the cleaning supervisor on the executive floor, where usually, at that time, the floor was already completely clean. "Mr. Vance," Ingrid tried to hide her nervousness. "I didn't know you were coming back today." "I decided to come back early. I hope there haven't been any problems in my absence." "No, sir. Everything under control." Mr. Vance walked towards his office, but stopped when he noticed Ingrid's tense expression. "Is everything all right? You seem nervous." "Me? No, sir. Everything's normal." But Mr. Vance knew his employees. Ingrid had worked at the company for over 10 years, and he had never seen her so uncomfortable. Something was going on. "Ingrid, what's happening?" Before she could answer, a soft sound came from inside the office. A low, almost musical murmur. Mr. Vance frowned and took another step towards the door. "Sir, perhaps you'd better go to the break room first. Have some coffee." Ingrid tried to discreetly block his path. "Ingrid," Mr. Vance's voice grew more serious. "Is someone in my office?" The supervisor took a deep breath. There was no way to hide it. "Yes, sir, but I can explain." Mr. Vance didn't wait for an explanation. He slowly turned the doorknob and opened his office door. The scene he found left him completely paralyzed. Sitting in his armchair, a young woman with brown hair pulled back in a ponytail was breastfeeding a baby. She wore a cleaning uniform, discreetly unbuttoned, and hummed an almost inaudible lullaby. An older lady sat in the chair in front of the desk, smiling tenderly. The afternoon light streamed through the large windows, creating a golden atmosphere around the scene. There was something profoundly beautiful and sacred about that moment, a purity Mr. Vance had never witnessed before. Luna looked up and saw him standing in the doorway. Her face turned red with embarrassment, and she instinctively pulled her blouse tighter over her chest. I can explain," she stammered, trying to stand up. "Don't get up," Mr. Vance said softly, entering the room and closing the door behind him. "Continue." Mrs. Gable had also stood up, clearly uncomfortable. "Perhaps I should go." "Please stay." Mr. Vance approached slowly, as if he didn't want to break the spell of the moment. "What's her name?" "Lily," Luna replied, still embarrassed. "I know I shouldn't be here, but she wouldn't take the bottle. And how old is she?" 4 months. Mr. Vance observed the baby, who had stopped feeding and was looking at him with curiosity. Lily had large, expressive eyes, just like her mother. "She's beautiful," he said, genuinely moved. "May I?" Luna hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Mr. Vance extended his index finger, and Lily grasped it with her tiny hand, squeezing tightly. "Look at that strength," he murmured, smiling. "She's going to be a determined woman, like her mother." "Sir, I've worked here for 2 years," Luna began, still trying to explain herself. "I've never missed a day, never been late. Today was exceptional." She was desperate. "Luna, right?" Mr. Vance interrupted gently. "Yes, sir. You don't need to justify yourself. Being a mother is the most important thing in the world." Ingrid, who had entered the room, sighed with relief. "Mr. Vance, I took responsibility. If there's any problem..." "There's no problem at all, Ingrid. You did the right thing." Mr. Vance sat on the edge of his desk, watching Luna put Lily to her other breast. There was something mesmerizing about the connection between mother and daughter, a love so pure and intense that it touched a part of him he had forgotten existed. "Are you single?" he asked. Then he internally reprimanded himself for the intimate question. "Yes, sir. It's just me and her. Her father isn't part of our lives." Mr. Vance nodded, respecting the boundary of the conversation. He himself had never married, dedicating his entire life to the company. At 38, he had built an empire, but he had never experienced what was happening there. Real, unconditional love. True human connection. "How much time do you need?" he asked softly. "Just a few more minutes, sir. She needs to burp afterwards." "Take your time. I'll work right here." Mr. Vance turned to his computer, but couldn't concentrate. His eyes constantly returned to Luna and Lily. The young woman had delicate movements, spoke to her daughter in soft tones, and there was a serenity on her face that contrasted with the attention she clearly felt being there. "There, my princess," Luna whispered, putting Lily in her lap and gently patting her back. "Let's burp." The baby let out a loud burp, and everyone laughed. Even Mr. Vance, who rarely smiled at work, found himself genuinely laughing. "She has personality," he commented. "Too much," Mrs. Gable agreed. "This girl knows what she wants." Luna stood up, adjusting her blouse and picking up the diaper bag. "Thank you very much for your understanding, sir. This won't happen again." "Luna." Mr. Vance stood up too. "May I ask you a question?" "Of course, sir." "How do you manage to work 8 hours away from her? It can't be easy." Luna's eyes filled with tears. "It's not, but it's what I have to do. I have bills to pay. She needs diapers, food when she starts eating. And what if she gets sick? If she needs a doctor? I'll manage. I always have." Mr. Vance was silent for a moment. There was something about that young woman's strength that deeply impressed him. She wasn't asking for pity. She wasn't complaining. She was simply doing what she had to do, with dignity and love. "Well," he finally said, "I think you can go. Thank you for letting me meet Lily. Thank you for your understanding, sir." Luna headed for the door, but Mr. Vance called her once more. "Luna?" "Yes, sir." "You're an admirable mother. Lily is lucky to have you." Luna's face lit up with the first genuine smile she had given in weeks. "Thank you, sir. That means a lot to me." After they left, Mr. Vance remained alone in the office. He sat in the armchair where Luna had breastfed, and he could still feel the warmth she had left there. For the first time in years, his office seemed more than just a workplace. It seemed to have had life, love, real purpose. He picked up the phone and called his personal assistant. "Maria, I need you to bring me some information about an employee." "Which one, sir?" "Luna. I need to know her last name. She works in cleaning." "I'll check now, sir." "And Maria?" "Yes, sir. I want to know about her situation. Discreetly." Mr. Vance hung up the phone and leaned back in the armchair. For the first time in many years, something other than business occupied his mind. He couldn't get the image of Luna breastfeeding Lily out of his head, not in an inappropriate way, but in a profoundly touching one. There was something about that woman that intrigued him. Strength, determination, unconditional love. Qualities he had lost amid the corporate world. And for the first minutes in months, Mr. Harrison Vance found himself thinking about something unrelated to profits, meetings, or business strategies. He was thinking about a young mother with sad eyes and a brave smile who had brought life into his cold, impersonal personal office. For the next 3 days, Mr. Vance found himself arriving at the office earlier and staying longer on the 4th floor. He told himself it was to catch up on projects delayed during his trip. But deep down, he knew he was waiting to see Luna again. Maria, his assistant, had brought him the requested information. Luna Carter, 24 years old, had worked at the company for 2 years, always with excellent evaluations. She lived in a small apartment, a 15-minute bike ride from the company. She was single, and the child's father had not acknowledged paternity. There was nothing beyond the basic data. It was a simple life, without scandals or complications. "Is there anything else I need to know about her, sir?" Maria had asked, clearly curious. "No, that's enough, thank you." But it wasn't enough. Mr. Vance kept thinking about Luna's courage, the way she spoke to her daughter, the dignity with which she faced her difficulties. He had met many women over the years, ambitious executives, sophisticated socialites, women who moved the corporate world. But none of them had had the impact that a young cleaning assistant had in just a few minutes. On Friday morning, Mr. Vance was in his office reviewing reports when he heard the familiar sound of a cleaning cart in the hallway. His heart involuntarily sped up. He pretended to be absorbed in his work when he heard the soft knock on the door. "Come in," he said, trying to sound casual. Luna appeared at the entrance, pushing the cleaning supply cart. She seemed shyer than usual, clearly still embarrassed by Thursday's events. "Good morning, sir. May I clean the office?" "Of course, Luna. Come in." She began working in silence, dusting the furniture with precise, careful movements. Mr. Vance tried to concentrate on his papers, but his eyes invariably returned to her. There was a natural grace in her movements, a dedication even in the simplest tasks. "How is Lily?" he finally asked, unable to remain silent. Luna stopped cleaning and turned to him with a small but genuine smile. "She's fine, sir. Thank you for asking. She's started accepting the bottle again." "Is she still with your neighbor?" "Yes, Mrs. Gable is an angel. I don't know what I'd do without her." Mr. Vance leaned back in his chair, watching Luna resume cleaning. "It must be hard to be away from her for so long." "It is," Luna admitted, cleaning the bookshelf. "But at least I know she's well cared for. Mrs. Gable has a lot of love to give. And you? Who takes care of you?" The question caught Luna by surprise. She stopped again, looking at him with a confused expression. "What do you mean, sir?" "You take care of Lily. You work. You worry about everything. But who worries about you?" Luna was silent for a moment, as if she had never considered the question. I take care of myself. I have to take care of myself." "That's not the same thing." There was something in Mr. Vance's voice that made Luna look at him more closely. He wasn't speaking as a boss to an employee. There was genuine concern there, a humanity she didn't expect to find. "Sir, may I ask a question?" "Of course." "Why are you being so kind to me? Since Thursday, I feel like." "Like what?" "Like you see me not as the cleaning lady, but as a person." Mr. Vance stood up from his chair and walked to the window, looking at the city below. "Do you want the honest answer?" "Yes, sir. Because on Thursday, I witnessed something I had never seen before. Real love. True purpose. You have something I've spent my entire life trying to find." "What is that, sir?" "You know exactly why you wake up every morning." Luna slowly approached, still holding the cleaning cloth. "And you don't know?" "I thought I did. Building the company. Creating jobs. Growing in the market. But on Thursday, seeing you with Lily, I realized I never had a purpose that made me feel complete." "Sir." "Harrison, you can call me Harrison." "Harrison," she repeated, testing the name. "I don't think my life is that special. I do what I have to do, and that's exactly what's special. You don't need to think. You don't need to search for meaning. You just love, and that's enough." They stood in silence for a few moments, looking out the window. There was a tension in the air, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was as if something important was forming between them. "May I ask something?" Luna said. "Anything. Do you have family, children?" "No, never married. Never had children. I always thought I had time, that first I needed to build the company. And now? Now I'm 38, a prosperous company, and I come home every night to an empty apartment." Luna watched him closely. There was a loneliness in his eyes that she recognized. It was different from her loneliness, but it was real. "Sometimes I think it would be easier if Lily didn't exist," she said softly. "I could work more, earn more, have more options." But then she smiles at me, and I realize she's the best thing that ever happened to me. "Do you regret it? Being a mother so young?" "Never. Not for a second." Harrison turned to her, and for the first time, Luna saw vulnerability in his eyes. "Do you think it's too late for me to have what you have? Love, family. It's never too late for that. Even for someone like me, who spent so much time focused on other things." Luna put the cleaning cloth aside and stepped closer. "Sir, Harrison, can I say something?" "Say it." "On Thursday, when you came into the office, I expected to be fired. I expected shouting, embarrassment. But you looked at me and Lily with a tenderness I had never seen before. That's not from someone who doesn't know how to love." "You think so?" "I'm sure." Harrison moved closer, and Luna could smell his subtle cologne. Something was happening there. Something that went beyond a boss-employee relationship. She should have been scared, but she wasn't. She felt safe. "Luna, may I ask a personal question?" "You may." "Lily's father, what happened?" Luna's face closed off slightly. "He was young, like me. When he found out about the pregnancy, he said he wasn't ready. That he had dreams, plans, that a baby would ruin everything." "And you?" "I had dreams too. I wanted to finish my studies, maybe go to college. But when I found out I was pregnant, my dreams changed. She became my dream. He never showed up again. Never. And I don't want him to. Lily deserves someone who chooses her, not someone who sees her as a burden." Harrison was silent, processing her words. There was a strength in Luna that impressed him. She had turned abandonment into love, difficulty into purpose. "May I get to know her better?" he suddenly asked. "Sir?" "Lily, I'd like to get to know her better. And you too." Luna looked at him in surprise. "I don't understand. Would you like to have dinner with me tomorrow? You and Lily?" "I don't know if that's appropriate." "Why wouldn't it be? Because you're my boss? Because we're from different worlds? Because you're a dedicated mother. And I'm a man who admires that. Because you have something I want to learn. Because, for the first time in years, I've found someone who makes me want to be a better person." Luna was speechless. There was sincerity in his voice, a vulnerability she didn't expect. "I don't have appropriate clothes for..." "No need for anything formal. We can order food, stay home. I just want to get to know you two better." "Your place? If you'd feel more comfortable, we can have dinner at your place. I can bring the food." Luna hesitated. Part of her knew she was entering unknown territory, but there was something about Harrison that made her feel safe. And how long had it been since she felt seen, valued as a woman? "All right," she finally said, "but nothing too elaborate. Lily sleeps early." "Perfect. What time would be good?" 7 o'clock. That way she'll have already fed and won't be restless." 7 o'clock is perfect." Harrison took out a piece of paper and wrote down his phone number. "My number in case you need anything. And I need your address." Luna wrote down her address on another piece of paper. As their fingers touched in the exchange, both felt an electric current pass between them. "Well," Luna said, turning back to the cleaning cart, "I need to finish cleaning. Of course, I'll get back to work." But neither of them moved. They stood, looking at each other for a few seconds, as if sealing a silent agreement. "Until tomorrow," Harrison finally said. "Until tomorrow." Luna finished cleaning in silence, but there was a small smile playing on her lips. When she left the office, Harrison stood at the window, watching her push the cart down the hallway. For the first time in years, he was looking forward to something that had nothing to do with work. He was looking forward to getting to know that extraordinary woman and her daughter better. On the other side of the door, Luna leaned against the wall for a moment, trying to process what had happened. Her heart was pounding, and she wondered if she had made the right decision. But when she thought of Harrison's gaze, the sincerity in his voice, the way he had treated Lily, she knew she wanted to get to know him better too. The unfolding chapter, new beginnings and whispers. Saturday arrived faster than Luna expected. She spent the entire morning nervously tidying and retidying the small apartment. Mrs. Gable had noticed her neighbor's agitation and came over to help. "My dear, you're more nervous than a bride at the altar," Mrs. Gable commented, arranging the sofa cushions for the third time. "It's just dinner." "It's not just dinner, Mrs. Gable. It's my boss, the owner of the company." "So what? He's a man, you're a woman. Lily needs a father figure, and you need a companion." "I don't need anyone," Luna protested, checking again for dust on the coffee table. "Yes, you do. Every woman does. And every child, too." Luna stopped cleaning and looked at Mrs. Gable. "Do you think I'm doing the right thing?" "I think you're living. For the first time since Lily was born, you're thinking about yourself as a woman, not just as a mother. What if it goes wrong? What if he realizes we're from very different worlds? What if it goes right? What if you discover you have more in common than you imagine?" At 5 in the afternoon, Luna bathed Lily, dressing her in her prettiest onesie, a gift Mrs. Gable had given at her birth. The baby was especially smiley, as if she knew the evening would be special. "You're going to meet a friend of Mommy's," Luna said, combing her daughter's sparse hair. "I want you to be well behaved, okay?" Lily giggled, as if she understood perfectly. Luna chose a simple but pretty blouse, jeans, and tied her hair in a loose bun. She didn't have many options, but she was presentable. When she looked in the mirror, she saw a young woman with bright eyes, and for a moment she forgot her worries. Punctually at 7 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Luna took a deep breath, picked Lily up, and opened the door. Harrison stood in the hallway, holding 2 paper bags and a small bouquet of flowers. He had traded his suit for a casual shirt and jeans, and looked younger, more approachable. "Good evening," he said, smiling nervously. "I brought dinner. Italian, I hope you like it." "Good evening. Please come in." Harrison entered the apartment and paused, observing the surroundings. It was small but cozy. Every piece of furniture had been chosen with care. Every detail showed Luna's love for her home. On the wall were photos of Lily at different ages, from newborn to now. "Your home is beautiful," he said sincerely. "Thank you, it's small, but it's ours. Size doesn't matter. What matters is the love you put into it." Harrison approached Lily, who was observing him with curiosity. "Hello, princess. Remember me?" To Luna's surprise, Lily reached out her little arms to Harrison. He looked at her mother, silently asking for permission. "You can hold her. She likes you." Harrison carefully picked Lily up, as if holding something precious. The baby settled naturally into his arms, pulling a button on his shirt. "She's even more beautiful than I remembered," he murmured. Luna felt something stir in her chest. There was something profoundly attractive about seeing a strong, successful man melting with her daughter. "I'll set up dinner in the kitchen," she said, picking up the bags. "Can I help?" "No need. Stay with her. You two are getting acquainted." In the small kitchen, Luna arranged the Italian food Harrison had brought. Lasagna, salad, garlic bread, and even dessert. It was more food than she ate in a week, but she appreciated the thoughtfulness he had shown. From the living room, she could hear Harrison talking to Lily. "You live in a very beautiful place," he was saying. "Your mommy has excellent taste. And what do you think? Do you like it here?" Lily babbled something that sounded like an answer, and Harrison laughed. "Ah, I understand. You like it, but you think it needs a garden to play in when you grow up. I completely agree." Luna smiled, listening to the one-sided conversation. There was a naturalness to Harrison with Lily that surprised her. "Dinner's ready," she announced, returning to the living room. They sat at the small dining table. Harrison placed Lily in a baby bouncer next to the table, where she could see everything. "This is delicious," Luna said, tasting the lasagna. Where did you buy it? Actually, I made it myself. Luna almost choked. You cook? I learned out of necessity. When you live alone, you either learn to cook or you live on takeout. Have you lived alone for a long time? Always. Never shared an apartment in college. Never lived with a girlfriend. I always prioritized independence. And you don't feel lonely? Harrison paused his fork in midair. Until this week, I would have said no. But after Thursday, I realized that perhaps I confused independence with loneliness. What changed on Thursday? You. Both of you. He looked at Lily, who was playing with a colorful teether. I saw something I'd never seen before. Real connection, unconditional love, purpose. Everyone has purpose, Harrison. Yours is the company. No, Luna. The company is my job, my responsibility. But it's not my purpose. Your purpose is right there. He pointed to Lily. Waking up every day knowing exactly why you exist. Luna took a sip of wine. Harrison had brought an expensive bottle she knew she could never afford. It's not always so poetic, she said. Some nights she cries for hours, and I don't know what to do. Some days the money runs short, and I have to choose between buying diapers or food for myself. There are times when I feel completely lost, but you never give up. I can't give up. She depends on me, and that's what I admire. You face difficulties, but you never question if it's worth it. And do you question if the company is worth it? Harrison was silent for a moment. Every day, I question if everything I've built has real meaning. If when I die, something important will remain. How many people does the company employ? 230. 230 families who depend on the work you created. 230 people who can pay their bills because you had an idea and turned it into reality. Isn't that enough meaning? Harrison looked at her with admiration. How can you see all that so clearly? Perhaps because I know what difficulty is. I know what it's like to have no bob, no income. The company you created is a safe haven for many people, including you, including me. They ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Lily had fallen asleep in the baby bouncer, and the atmosphere was intimate and cozy. May I ask a personal question? Harrison said. You may. Do you have plans for the future? Many. I want Lily to study, to have opportunities I didn't have. I want to buy a small house with a garden for her to play in. I want to go back to school, maybe get a technical degree. What area? Administration, perhaps, or human resources. I've always liked dealing with people. You'd be excellent in HR. You think so? I'm sure. You have empathy. You can see people's potential. You understand others' difficulties. Luna smiled, feeling valued. And you? What plans do you have? Until this week, my plans were to expand the company, open branches, grow in the market. And now? Now I don't know. For the first time, I'm questioning if professional growth is enough. What else would you like? Harrison looked at Lily, then at Luna. I'd like to have someone to share successes and failures with. I'd like to have a reason to come home beyond exhaustion. I'd like to have someone who sees me as a man, not just as a CEO. And what is Harrison the man, not the CEO? Honestly, I don't know. It's been so long since I was just the CEO that I've forgotten who I was before. Then maybe it's time to rediscover. Harrison reached his hand across the table, lightly touching Luna's fingers. Would you help me with that? Help how? Teach me to see the world as you see it. Show me what truly matters. Luna felt her heart quicken. Harrison, I don't know if what? If this is sensible. We're very different. You have money, education, a world I don't know. I have responsibilities, a daughter, a complicated life. What if the differences didn't matter? What if what mattered was how we feel together? How we feel. Don't you feel this connection between us? Luna lowered her eyes. Of course she felt it. Since Thursday, Harrison hadn't left her thoughts. There was something about him that made her feel safe, valued, desired. I do, she admitted, but I'm scared. Of what? Of getting hurt. Of hurting Lily. Of creating expectations and being disappointed. Harrison gently squeezed her hand. What if I promised to go slowly? To respect your time, your needs? Why would you do that? Because you and Lily are worth it. Because for the first time in years, I've found something that makes me want to be better. Luna looked at him, seeing sincerity in his eyes. It won't be easy. My life is complicated. Simple life is overrated. What if you get tired? What if you realize that reality is different from fantasy? What if I don't get tired? What if reality is better than any fantasy? Lily stirred in the baby bouncer, making a soft noise. Both looked at her, and Luna saw genuine tenderness on Harrison's face. All right, she finally said. We can try, slowly. Slowly, he agreed, smiling. At your pace. And with one condition. What? At work, you remain my boss, and I remain your employee. This stays separate. Agreed. They sealed the agreement with a handshake that turned into a moment of intertwined hands across the table. It was the beginning of something new, uncertain, but full of possibilities. Outside, a gentle rain began to fall, as if the universe was blessing this new beginning. The storm of gossip. When truth faces lies, the following weeks brought a new dynamic to Luna's life. At work, she and Harrison maintained the agreed-upon professionalism. He was the respected CEO. She was the dedicated employee. But there were small moments only they understood. A discreet smile when they crossed paths in the hallway. A good morning that lasted a second longer than usual. A look that said more than words. Outside of work, their meetings became a smooth and natural routine. Harrison would appear on weekends with food, sometimes with small gifts for Lily. A colorful mobile, soft clothes, and educational toys. He never overdid it. He always asked beforehand if he could bring anything, respecting Luna's pride. You don't have to bring something every time, Luna had said on one of these occasions. I know I don't have to. I want to, he replied. But I don't want you to think I'm with you for interest. Harrison stopped playing with Lily and looked directly at her. Luna, if I thought that, I wouldn't be here. You work hard, you manage on your own, you've never asked for anything. If there's anyone here who has no material interest, it's you. It was on a Tuesday morning, 3 weeks after their first dinner, that Luna noticed something different about Lily. The baby was fussier than usual, refusing the bottle with Mrs. Gable. She's been strange since yesterday, Mrs. Gable said, when Luna came to pick up her daughter at the end of the day. She cries more, doesn't want to play. Maybe she's teething. But during the night, Lily got worse. She had a fever, cried inconsolably for hours. Luna didn't sleep a wink, alternating between cold compresses and attempts to breastfeed. At 5 a.m, she decided she needed to take her daughter to the doctor. The problem was she didn't have money for a private pediatrician, and the public clinic only opened at 7. Luna quickly dressed, bundled Lily up, and left the house with the first light of day. At the clinic, she took ticket number 47. Ahead of her, but people waited for the same urgency. Lily was burning with fever, and Luna felt despair grow with each passing minute. That's when her phone rang. Harrison. Hello? Good morning. Is everything all right? You didn't come to work today. Harrison. Luna's voice faltered. Lily has a high fever. I'm at the clinic, but there are too many people ahead of me. Which clinic? The one on Cedar Street. Listen, there's a private children's hospital 10 minutes from there. St. Jude's Hospital. Can you take her there? I don't have money for... I do. Take her now, Luna. Lily's health is more important than anything. Harrison, I can't accept. Yes, you can. It's a 10-minute taxi ride. I'll meet you there. But you have meetings? Luna. His voice grew firm. Meetings can wait. Lily can't. Go now. Half an hour later, Luna was in the pediatric emergency room at St. Jude's Hospital, one of the best institutions in the city. Lily was being examined by Dr. Alex Riley, an experienced pediatrician whom Harrison had called personally. It's an ear infection, the doctor diagnosed. Nothing serious, but very painful for babies. With the right antibiotic, she'll be better in 48 hours. Luna sighed with relief, kissing Lily's forehead, who had finally stopped crying after the painkiller. "Doctor, how much is the consultation?" she asked, already mentally calculating how she would pay. "It's already taken care of," the doctor said gently. "Mr. Vance has settled everything, including the medications." Luna turned and saw Harrison in the hallway, talking to a nurse. He had arrived during the examination, but had stayed outside not to disturb. "Harrison." She approached him with Lily in her arms. "Thank you. I don't know how to thank you." "No need to thank me. How is she?" "Ear infection. She'll be fine." Harrison gently touched Lily's face, who was drowsy but fever-free. "What a scare. Wasn't it, Princess?" "Harrison, about the money." "Luna, stop. Lily is fine. That's what matters. But I need to pay you back." "No, you don't." "Yes, I do. I can't accept this." Harrison led her to a more private corner of the hospital. "Listen, may I make a proposal?" "What kind of proposal?" "The company needs to restructure its employee benefits program. Childcare, health insurance, education assistance. I'd like you to help me with that." "Me? But I work in cleaning, and you know the real needs of employees better than any external consultant. It would be a parallel project, a few hours a week with extra remuneration." Luna looked at him suspiciously. "Are you making this up to help me?" "I'm inventing a way to help you, but the project is real. The company needs to improve its benefits, and you would be perfect for it." "Why?" "Because you've experienced the difficulties. You know what it's like not to have childcare, not to have health insurance, not to have assistance when your child gets sick. Who better to design benefits that truly help?" Luna considered the proposal. It was an opportunity to grow professionally, to contribute more significantly to the company. How long would it be? A few hours a week initially. Then, if it works out, it could be a gradual transition to an administrative role. "And Lily? I can't work more hours without having someone to leave her with." Harrison smiled. "That would be the first change. We're going to implement a daycare at the company for all employees with small children." "A daycare at Tech Innovate?" "Why not? We have unused space on the second floor. Employees will be more at ease, more productive, and children will be close to their parents." Luna felt tears in her eyes. "You would do that?" "We would do that. Together?" "I accept," she said, extending her hand. "But I want to be clear. This is professional. I don't want people to think I'm receiving privileges for other reasons. Understood? It will be an official project, with a formal contract and everything." They shook hands, sealing the agreement. Lily chose that moment to smile for the first time in 2 days, as if approving the decision. "I think she liked the idea," Harrison said, making faces at the baby. "She likes you," Luna observed, "since day one. And I like her, and her mother." "Harrison, relax. I'm just telling the truth." Leaving the hospital, Harrison insisted on driving them home. On the way, Luna watched Lily sleeping peacefully in the baby car seat he had bought and installed in the back seat. "Do you always carry a baby car seat in your car?" she asked. "I bought it last week, just in case you two needed a ride someday." "You thought of everything. I try to think of what would be best for both of you." When they arrived at the apartment, Luna invited Harrison in. It was midday, and for the first time, he was in her home during the day. The natural light showed even more clearly the simplicity and care with which every corner had been organized. "Do you want to have lunch?" Luna offered. "I don't have much, but I can make scrambled eggs." "Let me cook for you. You've had a difficult morning." While Harrison improvised lunch in the small kitchen, Luna laid Lily in the crib and watched her sleep. The baby was clearly better, breathing peacefully. "Is she all right?" Harrison appeared at the bedroom door. "Much better. The doctor was right. Great. Lunch is ready. They ate in comfortable silence. There was something different in the atmosphere, a new intimacy built during the morning's crisis. Thank you, Luna finally said. For everything. For the hospital. For the job opportunity. For leaving your meetings to help us. Luna, you need to understand something. What? You two have become the most important people in my life. When you called this morning, desperate, nothing else mattered. No meeting, no contract, nothing. But your company, the company will continue to exist. But a morning like today, seeing you two suffering, that doesn't go back. Luna looked at him, seeing the sincerity in his eyes. Are you sure of what you're doing? Sure you want this? The complicated life, the sleepless nights, the emergencies? Absolutely. Even knowing it can be difficult, that Lily will always come first, especially because of that. Luna stood up from the table and approached him. For the first time since they met, she took the initiative. She placed her hands on his face and kissed him softly. It was a kiss full of gratitude, of promise, of beginning. When they separated, both were smiling. Was that a thank you? Harrison asked. And was that an I like you too? From the bedroom, Lily made a soft noise, as if approving the moment. They both laughed, and Luna knew she was making the right decision. From that day on, they were no longer just two people getting to know each other. They were a family in the making. The unseen battle. Facing the shadows of doubt, the shift in Luna's routine did not go unnoticed at Tech Innovate. The following Monday, after the hospital incident, she arrived at work with a folder of documents and went straight to one of the meeting rooms on the 3rd floor, where she would begin working on the benefits restructuring project. Margaret Stone, a cleaning employee for 5 years and known for her sharp tongue, observed everything with watchful eyes. Margaret always considered herself the veteran among the cleaning assistants. She knew every corner of the company, all the gossips, and had ill-disguised envy of any colleague who prospered. Look at that, she muttered to Clara, another cleaning assistant, as they watched Luna enter the meeting room. The little princess now has her own office. I heard she's going to work on a special project, Clara replied, always trying to see the good side of things. Special project, right? And you know why she got this special project? Because she's a good employee? Margaret let out a sarcastic laugh. Oh, Clara, you're so naive. Luna got this because she's hitting on the boss. Margaret, don't say such things. It's true. Last week she missed work, and he also didn't show up in the morning. Coincidence? I don't think so. In reality, Margaret knew nothing about the hospital episode, but her conspiratorial mind always found connections where none existed. And the fact that Luna, younger and hired after her, was receiving special opportunities deeply bothered her ego. Meanwhile, the meeting room, Luna was studying the company's current benefits documents. Harrison had been discreet in implementing the project, involving the HR department officially, creating formal documentation, and treating everything as a legitimate corporate improvement initiative. How's it going? Ingrid asked, peering at the office door. Complicated, but interesting, Luna replied, looking at the spreadsheets. I'm seeing that the company spends a lot on benefits that employees don't even use, and at the same time, it doesn't offer basic things that everyone needs. Like what? Health insurance that covers dependents, for example. Most employees have children, but the plan only covers the policyholder. Makes sense. And how's it going working with Mr. Vance? Luna noticed the cautious tone of the question. Professional. He gave me complete autonomy for the project. Great. Just be careful with the gossip, okay? You know how this place is. What kind of gossip? Ingrid hesitated. Some people are commenting about you receiving this opportunity, saying that, well, that you might be receiving special treatment. Luna felt her stomach sink. Why? Because you're new? Because you're pretty? Because the boss is giving you a chance that other people here never had. But it's a real project, Ingrid. It has a contract. It has documentation. I know that. And you know that. But people see what they want to see. After Ingrid left, Luna felt restless. She knew her relationship with Harrison could generate comments, but she hoped her competence would speak louder. Apparently, she was being naive. At the end of the afternoon, as she was putting away the documents, Margaret appeared in the meeting room. "Hi, Luna. How's the new job?" "Hi, Margaret. It's not a new job. It's a side project." "Oh, sure. Side project." Margaret sat in the chair in front of the table, clearly not intending to leave quickly. "It must be nice to work directly with the owner of the company. It's a learning opportunity, I imagine. And tell me how you got this opportunity. Because I've worked here for 5 years, I know the whole company, and I've never been invited to any special project." Luna felt the provocation, but kept calm. "I think you should talk to HR about growth opportunities. Or maybe I should do what you did." "What do you mean?" "Oh, Luna, don't play dumb. Everyone knows you have a special relationship with Mr. Vance." "Margaret, that's none of your business. It becomes everyone's business when an employee receives privileges for dating the boss." Luna stood up, feeling anger rise. "I'm not receiving privileges. I was chosen for this project because I have the necessary qualifications." "Qualifications? You work in cleaning just like me. And you think that makes me less capable of understanding employees' needs? I think it makes you less capable of getting a project like this without external help. I knew you were envious, Margaret, but I didn't know you were malicious too." "Malicious? I'm realistic. You want to tell me it's a coincidence that the company owner took an interest in you right after you showed up in his office breastfeeding?" Luna turned pale. "How do you know that?" "Everyone knows, dear. Nothing stays secret here. That was an emergency. My daughter was sick." "Of course it was. And he was so moved by the situation that he decided to promote you." "It wasn't a promotion. It's a temporary project. Today it's a temporary project. Tomorrow it'll be a trusted position. Then it'll be management. And we, who work honestly, stay in cleaning." "Margaret, you're being unfair." "Unfair? You want to know what's unfair? It's a new girl coming here. And in 2 years, getting what long-time employees never got. Just because she's pretty and knows how to use it." "Enough!" Luna slammed her hand on the table. "I'm not going to stand here listening to your accusations. If you have a problem with me, take it to HR." "Maybe I will." Margaret left the room with a poisonous smile, leaving Luna shaken. She knew her colleagues' words were driven by envy, but she also knew that this kind of gossip could spread quickly through the company. That night at home, Luna was too quiet. Harrison, who had arrived with dinner, noticed something was wrong. "Did something happen today?" he asked, while playing with Lily on the living room rug. "Margaret, a colleague from cleaning, came to talk to me today. And she thinks I'm receiving privileges because of our relationship." Harrison stopped playing and looked at her. "What exactly did she say?" "That I got the project because I'm dating you. That I'm using my looks to get promotions." "And what did you say?" "I defended the project, said it was real, that I had the qualifications, but what if she's right? What if people really think I'm taking advantage of the situation?" Harrison stood up and sat beside her on the sofa. "Luna, look at me." She raised her eyes, seeing determination on his face. "First, you were chosen for this project because you are the most qualified person for it. You know the real needs of employees because you lived those needs. Second, our personal relationship began after you were already working there. Third, envy will always exist. But what if it harms you? Your reputation at the company. My reputation is based on 10 years of serious work and correct decisions. If people question a professional decision because of gossip, the problem is theirs, not mine. And what if it harms my credibility? What if other employees don't take the project seriously because they think it's just favoritism?" Harrison took her hands. "Then you prove them wrong. Make the best benefits project this company has ever seen. Show that you deserve to be there. What if I can't? What if I'm really not good enough? Impossible. How can you be so sure? Because I see how dedicated you are in everything you do. How you take care of Lily. How you work. How you care about people. You're going to rock this project. Luna smiled for the first time since her conversation with Margaret. You always know what to say. Not always, but I know quality when I see it. What if the gossip gets worse? Then we face it together. But we won't let one person's envy derail our plans. Lily, who was playing on the floor, began to whimper. Luna picked her up, and the baby calmed down immediately. See? Harrison said, smiling. Even she knows you're special. But while Luna felt better with Harrison's words, she didn't imagine that Margaret was busy spreading her suspicions to other employees. The seed of discord had been planted, and it would soon begin to grow. The next day, when Luna arrived at work, she noticed different glances. Some employees stopped talking when she passed. Others made low comments she couldn't hear. The silent war had begun, and Luna still didn't know the battle would be harder than she imagined. The ultimate test. Love's sacrifice. The following weeks were a test of endurance for Luna. What began as isolated comments from Margaret turned into a web of gossip that spread through Tech Innovate's corridors like wildfire. Margaret had become strategic in her campaign. During coffee breaks, she planted subtle doubts. Did you see how Mr. Vance looks at Luna? Strange for a cleaning employee to get such an important project, don't you think? They say she brings her daughter to his office. Each comment was carefully calculated to sound like genuine concern, never a direct accusation. Margaret knew how to manipulate people without leaving a trace. The first real sign that things were getting out of control came on a Thursday. Luna was in the meeting room working on the company daycare proposal when Richard Green from the finance department appeared at the door. Excuse me, you're Luna, right? I am, yes. How can I help you? I'm Richard from finance. I need to talk about the budget for this daycare project. Of course, sit down. Richard sat down, but there was something uncomfortable in his posture. Look, I don't want to be impertinent, but whose idea was this daycare project? It was a suggestion that came up during the benefits restructuring study. Your suggestion? Mine and Mr. Vance's jointly. I see. Richard fiddled with his papers, clearly embarrassed. It's just that, well, it's going to cost the company over $200,000 a year. It's a significant investment. Yes, but the return on productivity and talent retention justifies the investment. No doubt. I'm just curious about how this idea came about. I mean, it's very specific for someone who works in cleaning to have thought of it. Luna felt a pang in her stomach. Excuse me, but what does that have to do with my previous role? Nothing. Nothing. It's just that, well, you have children, don't you? So you would directly benefit from this daycare. Yes, so what? Right? It's strange to propose a benefit that you yourself would use. Doesn't it seem self-serving? Richard, all employees with children would benefit. This isn't personal interest. It's a collective need. Of course. Sorry if I sounded inappropriate. It's just that some people are commenting. What people? Commenting what? Richard shifted in his chair, clearly regretting bringing up the subject. Look, forget it. It's nothing important. No, Richard. Now you've started. Finish it. What are people commenting? It's just that, well, some people think it's strange that you got this project so quickly. And then you propose a daycare that would directly benefit you. And they think it's because of what? Because you might have special influence with management. Luna stood up from her chair, feeling anger grow. What kind of special influence? Luna, I don't want to cause trouble. What kind of influence, Richard? People think you might be too close to Mr. Vance. Personally close. Luna slammed her hand on the table. And if I were, would that invalidate my professional competence? No, that's not it. Yes, it is. You think a woman can only grow professionally if she's sleeping with the boss. Luna, I didn't say that. You didn't have to. It's implied in every word. Richard stood up, clearly uncomfortable. "Look, I only came here to discuss the budget. I didn't want to get into this subject." "Well, you should have stuck to the budget." After Richard left, Luna was alone in the room, trembling with anger and frustration. She knew it would come to this point, but she hadn't imagined it would be so direct, so humiliating. She took out her cell phone and sent a message to Harrison. "Need to talk to you. Urgent." The reply came in less than a minute. "I'm in a meeting until 5. Can it wait? Or is it an emergency?" "It can wait, but I need to talk." At 5 in the afternoon, Luna went up to the 4th floor and knocked on Harrison's office door. He was alone, organizing papers on his desk. "Come in." "What happened?" Luna told him about the conversation with Richard, about the comments circulating, about the way people were looking at her. "And the worst part," she said, pacing nervously around the room, "is that part of me believes them." Harrison was silent, processing everything she had said. When he spoke, his voice was controlled, but there was anger in his eyes. "First, Richard is going to hear from me. Questioning a professional project based on personal assumptions is unacceptable. No, Harrison. If you talk to him, it'll look like you're defending me, and that will make everything worse. And I am defending you. You're a competent employee being attacked by gossip. But I'm also the woman you're dating. People will see favoritism." Harrison stood up and approached her. "Luna, listen to what I'm going to tell you. I won't let anyone disrespect you in my company. What if that harms us? What if people stop taking the project seriously? Then we change strategy. How? You present the project to the board of directors without me in the room. Show all the directors why this restructuring is necessary." "Harrison, I've never spoken to a board of directors." "You'll rock it. You know the project better than any external consultant. What if they don't approve? They will approve it because it's an excellent project. And if they question your qualifications, I'll personally explain why you were chosen." Luna sat in the armchair, feeling the weight of the situation. "Sometimes I wonder if it wouldn't be better to give up. Go back to cleaning, keep things simple." "Do you want to give up?" "No, I don't. But I also don't want you to be harmed because of me." Harrison knelt in front of the armchair, holding her hands. "Luna, look at me." She raised her eyes, seeing determination on his face. "I won't let gossips determine our lives, neither professional nor personal, even if it causes problems for you, especially if it causes problems for me. It means I'm making the right choice." "How can you be so sure?" "Because you changed my life. Because for the first time, I have something more important than the company. And if people can't accept that, the problem is theirs." Luna smiled, feeling supported. "When is the board meeting?" "Next Tuesday. Then we have 5 days for me to prepare. We'll work on it together this weekend. Prepare a presentation that will shut everyone up." "At home?" "At home, with Lily supervising." They laughed, and for a moment the tension eased. But when Luna stood up to leave, Harrison held her. "Luna?" "Yes?" "For me, you've already proven you deserve to be here. Now it's just about showing the others. What if I fail? Impossible. But if something happens, we face it together. Promise." "I promise." They kissed, sealing the pact. But neither of them knew that Margaret was in the hallway, having seen everything through the slightly ajar door. On Monday, the gossip exploded. Margaret had spread that she saw Luna and Harrison kissing in the executive office, and now had proof that her suspicions were correct. When Luna arrived at work, the atmosphere was heavy. Conversation stopped when she passed. Glances followed her down the corridors. In the break room, a group of employees dispersed when she entered. Ingrid sought her out before lunch. "Luna, I need to warn you. Things are getting ugly." "What did you hear?" "That you and Mr. Vance are having an affair. That the project is just an excuse. That you're taking advantage of the situation." "And you believe that?" "I believe you're a good person and a dedicated employee. But I also believe you're getting into trouble. What kind of trouble? HR will be forced to investigate if there's a formal complaint. Complaint about what? Favoritism, conflict of interest, inappropriate relationship between a boss and a subordinate. Luna felt the world spin. What if there's a complaint? You could be fired for just cause. And Harrison? He could have problems with the board of directors, management questioning, conflict of interest. That night, Luna came home devastated. She told everything to Mrs. Gable, who was taking care of Lily. "My child, sometimes love costs dearly," her neighbor said, handing the baby to her mother. "Maybe it costs too much. Do you love him?" "I do." "And does he love you?" "I think so." "Then it's worth fighting for. Even risking everything?" "Especially risking everything." When Harrison arrived that night, he found Luna quiet, distant. Lily was sleeping, and the house seemed heavy. "What happened today?" he asked, sitting beside her on the sofa. "Ingrid warned me that there might be a formal complaint to HR." "About what?" "Favoritism, conflict of interest. If that happens, I could be fired for just cause, and I can have problems with the board." "You knew about this?" "I knew it was a possibility. And you didn't tell me." "I didn't want to worry you unnecessarily." Luna stood up from the sofa, agitated. "Unnecessarily? Harrison, my job is at risk. Our relationship is at risk. So maybe we should rethink this relationship." The silence that followed was deafening. Harrison looked at her in shock, and Luna realized she had deeply hurt him. "Are you saying you want to end it?" he asked, his voice low. "I'm saying maybe we shouldn't have started. Because of gossip? Because of the real consequences this gossip can have. Luna, you're letting other people determine your happiness. I'm protecting my daughter. If I lose my job, how will I support Lily? You won't lose your job. How can you guarantee that? Because I won't let you. What if it's not up to you? What if the board decides you're also acting inappropriately?" Harrison was silent because he knew she was right. Corporate rules were clear about relationships between superiors and subordinates. "So what do you suggest?" he finally asked. "That we stop? That you cancel my participation in the project? That I go back to cleaning? And our personal relationship? It can't exist while we work for the same company. Are you asking me to choose between you and the company? I'm giving you a dignified way out before it's too late for both of us." Harrison stood up, running his hands through his hair. "I can't believe you're doing this. I'm being realistic. You're being a coward." The word cut deep. Luna turned to him, her eyes blazing with anger. "Coward? I'm the coward? I'm the one who is trying to protect our daughter?" "Our daughter?" Luna realized what she had said and blushed. "My daughter. I meant my daughter." "No. You said our daughter. And you're right, because that's how I see Lily. Harrison, do you want me to leave? To give up on both of you? To let the gossips win? I want you to be smart. Smart would be fighting for what I love, not giving up at the first difficulty. This isn't the first difficulty, it's reality. The reality is that I love you, and I love Lily, and I won't give up on you because of envious people. Even if it costs me my company, the company can be rebuilt. You two cannot." Luna looked at him, seeing determination and love in his eyes. Part of her wanted to accept, to fight alongside him. But the mother part, the practical part, the part that had always had to manage on her own, was scared. "I need to think," she finally said. "How long?" "I don't know. Maybe it's better if you don't come here for a few days." Harrison felt as if he had been punched in the stomach. "Are you sending me away?" "I'm asking for time." "For what?" "To decide if it's worth risking everything. And if I say that for me, it's already worth it. Then you'll have to wait for me to be sure too." Harrison picked up his jacket, clearly hurt. At the door, he turned to her one last time. "Luna? Yes? Don't let fear win. You two deserve to be happy." After he left, Luna sat on the sofa and cried. Was she making the right decision? Or was she letting the love of her life slip away out of fear? From the bedroom, Lily woke up and started crying, as if sensing her mother's anguish. Luna picked her up, and the two cried together in the empty living room. Triumph of love. The family's victory. The following days were the most difficult of Luna's life. She returned to her cleaning routine, avoiding any contact with Harrison. The benefits restructuring project was officially suspended for reevaluation, and she knew it was the end of her growth opportunity at the company. Margaret was visibly satisfied with the results of her campaign. "Sometimes things go back to where they belong," Clara commented during the break, loud enough for Luna to hear. Harrison, in turn, was unrecognizable. Maria, his assistant, noticed that he arrived later, left earlier, and seemed to be on autopilot during meetings. When she asked if everything was all right, he simply replied, "Personal matters." Mrs. Gable watched Luna with growing concern. The young woman was pale, ate little, and even with Lily, she seemed distant. "My child, you're wasting away," Mrs. Gable said on a Friday morning while holding Lily. "This can't continue." "I'm fine, Mrs. Gable." "No, you're not. You're suffering like a stray dog." "I made the right choice." "No, you didn't. You made the choice of fear. I'm protecting Lily." "You're depriving Lily of having a father. He's not her father. Not biologically. But did you see how he looks at her? How she smiles when she sees him? That girl knows she has a man who loves her." Luna was silent because Mrs. Gable was right. Lily had cried for 3 nights in a row after Harrison stopped showing up, as if she knew something important was missing. "What if it goes wrong, Mrs. Gable? What if I lose my job? What if it goes right? What if you're happy? Happiness doesn't pay bills. Money without happiness is worth nothing." That afternoon, when Luna was cleaning the 3rd floor, Ingrid appeared with a serious expression. "Luna, I need to talk to you." "Did something happen?" "Margaret formally filed a complaint with HR, accusing you of having received undue favoritism." Luna felt her legs weaken. "Now what?" "You'll be called for a meeting on Monday to explain yourself. And what if they decide the accusation is valid?" "Dismissal for just cause, and Harrison? He'll also be investigated. He could have serious problems with the board of directors." Luna leaned against the wall, feeling her world collapse. "This is the end." "Not necessarily. What do you mean?" "You have allies in the company, Luna. People who've seen your work, who know your character." "Like who?" "Me, for starters. Several employees you helped when they needed it. Richard, from finance, regretted what he said and wants to testify in your favor." "Richard?" He realized he was unfair. He said you were always a dedicated professional, and that your ideas for the project were excellent. Even so, I don't know if it's enough. Maybe not. But at least you won't face it alone. Over the weekend, Luna barely slept. Mrs. Gable offered to stay with Lily during Monday's meeting, but Luna was terrified of what might happen. On Sunday night, while bathing Lily, her phone rang. It was Harrison. "Hello?" "Luna, I know you asked for time, but I need to tell you something before tomorrow's meeting." "What?" "I'm going to resign." "What? Why?" "Because then you can stay at the company without problems. If I'm no longer your boss, there's no conflict of interest." "Harrison, you can't do that. Tech Innovate is your life." "No, Luna, you two are my life. But the company, all your work. I have partners who can take over, and I can start another business. But I can't replace you two." Luna felt tears in her eyes. "You would do that for us? I'd do anything for you. What if I'm still fired? Then we face it together. I'll support you until you find another job." "Harrison." "Luna, I love you too. I want to build a family with you. If that means giving up the company, I will. I don't want you to sacrifice everything for me. It's not a sacrifice, it's a choice. The best choice of my life." Luna cried on the phone, feeling all the love she had tried to suppress in recent days. "I love you too," she whispered. "Then stop running. Let's face this together. What if it doesn't work out?" "It will. But if it doesn't, at least we tried." "All right. Let's try." "Do you want me to come over today?" "I do." "Lily missed you, I missed you. I'm coming." On Monday morning, Luna arrived at Tech Innovate with a heavy heart. but determined. Harrison had spent the night at her place, and they had talked about everything: the risks, the possibilities, the plans for the future. The meeting was scheduled for 10 a.m. in the HR conference room. Present were Luna, Harrison, Margaret, the HR director, Dr. Emily Stone, and a representative from the board of directors, Mr. David Chen. Margaret presented her accusations: undue favoritism, inappropriate relationship between a boss and a subordinate, conflict of interest in the selection for the special project. The employee Luna Carter, Margaret said, reading from a paper, was chosen for a high-responsibility project without having the necessary technical qualifications, shortly after having been seen in intimate situations with the company's CEO. What intimate situations? Dr. Stone asked. She was seen breastfeeding in the CEO's office, and subsequently, they were seen kissing in the same office. And do you consider breastfeeding an inappropriate intimate situation? Margaret hesitated. No, but it was in this boss's office. In a medical emergency, Harrison interrupted. Luna's daughter had a high fever and was refusing the bottle. It was a health matter. And about the kiss? Mr. Chen asked. Yes, Luna and I have a personal relationship, Harrison admitted, which began after she was already working for the company and which did not influence. Professional decision. How can you guarantee that? Dr. Stone asked. Because her selection for the project was based on objective criteria: practical knowledge of employee needs, exemplary professional dedication, and innovative ideas for improving benefits. Ideas that would benefit her personally, Margaret accused. Ideas that would benefit all employees with children, Luna corrected, speaking for the first time. And if you allow me, I would like to present the work I developed. Go ahead, Mr. Chen said. Luna stood up, took a deep breath, and began to present the project she had developed. She spoke about the research she had done, the needs identified, the projected return on investment. She presented numbers, comparisons with other companies, employee testimonials. When she finished, the room was silent. Ms. Stone, Mr. Chen said, do you have a background in administration or human resources? No, sir. Do you know any methodology for analyzing corporate benefits? No, sir. Then how can you claim that Ms. Luna did not have the qualifications for this project? Margaret was speechless. Dr. Stone, Mr. Chen continued, what is your technical evaluation of the work presented? Exceptional. Better than many studies we paid dearly for from external consultants. Mr. Vance, do you maintain your decision to resign? I do, if it's necessary to protect Luna. It will not be necessary, Mr. Chen said, standing up. After analyzing the evidence, this committee concludes that there was no undue favoritism. Ms. Luna Carter was chosen by professional merit, and her work fully justifies the decision. As for the personal relationship, although not ideal, it does not constitute a violation of company policies, provided that personal and professional matters are kept separate. And what about the complaint? Harrison asked. The complaint is considered unfounded and malicious. Ms. Stone, you will receive a formal warning for improper use of corporate complaint channels. Margaret's face crumbled, and she walked out of the room humiliated and furious. Luna could barely believe what she was hearing. Ms. Carter, Mr. Chen said, I would like to offer you a permanent position in the Human Resources Department as a benefits analyst, salary compatible with the position, all benefits, including full health insurance for you and your daughter. I accept, Luna stammered. Excellent. And Mr. Vance, we hope you reconsider your resignation. The company needs leaders like you. I will reconsider. Leaving the meeting, Luna and Harrison walked down the hallway in silence, still processing what had happened. I can't believe it worked out, Luna finally said. I always knew it would. How? Because you're extraordinary. It was just a matter of time until everyone noticed. That night, they had dinner at home with Lily. The baby was especially smiley, as if she knew the family was finally reunited for good. May I ask a question? Harrison said, playing with Lily after dinner. Of course, at the meeting with Mr. Chen, you said our daughter again. Luna blushed. I did, and I liked it. She really became our daughter, didn't she? Since day one. And you? What have you become to me? Harrison knelt on the living room floor, taking a small box from his pocket. I hope to become your husband. Luna's eyes widened. Harrison Vance, will you marry me? Will you build an official family with me and Lily? But when did you buy this? Last week, before all this happened. Because I knew that's what I wanted, regardless of anything else. Even with all the problems, especially because of the problems. They showed me how important you two are to me. Luna looked at the ring, then at Harrison, then at Lily, who was clapping her hands as if approving. Yes, she said, smiling through her tears. Yes, I will. Harrison placed the ring on her finger and kissed her. Lily giggled, and for the first time in weeks, the house was full of joy. Outside, a gentle rain began to fall, but inside the small room, the sun was shining. The happily ever after, where true love finds its home. 3 months later, Luna Carter became Luna Van Vance in a simple ceremony with Mrs. Gable as maid of honor and Lily as flower girl. The Tech Innovate Daycare opened the same week, being the first measure of the new benefits program Luna had developed. Margaret was transferred to another department, where she learned to keep her opinions to herself. And all the company's employees gained an example that, sometimes, true love overcomes even malicious gossip, because in the end, life always finds a way to put the right people in the right place at the right time. And Luna and Harrison had found not only each other, but a family that was worth every tear, every difficulty, every moment of uncertainty. Love had won, as it always should. Lesson learned. This story reminds us that true value lies not in titles, wealth, or societal expectations, but in genuine connection, empathy, and unwavering love. Luna's journey shows us the power of dignity, perseverance, and fierce maternal love in the face of adversity. Harrison's transformation highlights that true purpose and fulfillment often come from opening our hearts to others and embracing a life beyond personal ambition. We learn that sometimes the greatest treasures are found when we look beyond superficial differences and embrace the humanity in each other. What do you think was the most powerful moment in Luna and Harrison's journey? Share your thoughts below and join the conversation.